Morning, morning, morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have Joe in the house, and Joe is type 1 diabetic, and I've been classed as a type 2 diabetic. So we're just going to have a chit chat and talk about the diabetic world and what it's like and how you deal with things. So nice to have you here today, Joe.
Thank you.
So Joe, tell us your story first. How old were you when you first found out you were diabetic? What was your lifestyle like?
What it was, my lifestyle was, to be honest, was a very normal lifestyle. Like, to be honest, as a youngster, I was really quiet. I didn't really bond with many people. I didn't hang about like on the street or anything. And yeah, then gradually, my brother was already born with a hole in the heart.
Okay.
And what it was, 3 days before his 21st birthday, he woke up at home. And obviously, because I live with my mum, and he said to my mum, what it is, he said, I think I'm going to die in a minute. And my mum said, oh, you like, don't be stupid and that. He said, no, he said, what it is, mum, he said, I don't even have the effort to put my trousers on this morning. And what happened, me mum got him to downstairs into a safe place, and yeah, and he had a heart attack on the chair.
And he's 23?
Yes.
So did he know about he had a hole in his heart before?
Yes, what it was, my brother was only given a lifespan to the age of 16.
Oh.
And it was amazing because obviously that morning I was getting ready to go to school.
So you're a lot younger than your brother then?
Yeah, I'm nearly 7 years younger than him. And anyway, sort of like just like got on with the day, obviously, because I was still young. Mum sent me to school. And then during the day, when I was in school, I just didn't feel the same. So I managed to finish the full day of school. I went home, and then slowly I was losing a lot of energy. And then the vomiting came. And then what happened, I was vomiting, so Mum was keeping a close eye on me for like a few days. And then where I live, there's a little local park just a couple of minutes away. And they found me asleep on the floor in the park. And then I went straight...
So were you asleep or did you just collapse?
No, it was more like a collapse of lost energy.
Yeah, so you fainted or something?
Yes, then I went straight to A&E because obviously I weren't ill before that, or like I didn't have any medical conditions.
Were you taken to A&E or did the ambulance come?
No, I was taken to an ambulance turned up at the park.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad and... obviously I went to the hospital, and it was very unusual because obviously I was really ill, you know. So I went into hospital. Obviously they done a lot of tests and whatnot, and when I woke up, the nurse what was looking after me was leaning over me singing. And yeah, I woke up in a sort of like a shock, you know, because I didn't really know where I was. And then...
Is that your alarm?
Yeah, that... because I'm on a freestyle Libra now as well, you know, so you don't do the finger pricker.
Oh, so what's that telling you? Do you need to do something now?
No, what it is, a lot of the time is because like around this area, because a lot of the busy, like the tunnel now, it'll lose the signal, so it'll warn you.
I was saying you're losing the signal. Okay. So wait a minute, not to jump from one bit to another, but what does that device do?
The new device, the Freestyle Libra, is a device, in my point of view, I'd say it's for a lot more for the younger generation. You know, because nowadays a lot of diabetics, youngsters, they don't take 100% control, you know. They don't test their blood sugars enough as they should. And the Freestyle Libra obviously is like a pin attached to my arm, but it's linked to the mobile. So nowadays a lot of youngsters, a majority of youngsters have got a mobile phone in their hand, you know. And yeah, the Libra Freestyle is like basically everything, your blood type, when you're running low, when you're running high, it automatically sets the alarm off on the mobile.
Mm-hmm. Is it uncomfortable?
No, it's not uncomfortable.
What part of your arm is it put?
I've got it on the top of the arm.
Like your shoulder?
Just underneath the shoulder, yes.
Alright, but it's to the front of you?
Yeah, no, it's on the side of my arm, so obviously I can lean to scan. Because I've got to scan that like it's the size of a 2p.
Alright. And you have to scan it. Why do you have to scan it?
Because then obviously that gives you the blood sugar reading once you scan the Libra sensor.
Oh, so you scan it. So you just take your right hand, if it's on your left arm, shoulder.
Yep, and just lean across and scan.
Scan it. Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, and then you can see all the readings without pricking your finger every day.
Yes, and the good thing, it keeps all the log, you know? Like, I can look at my readings from 2 months ago.
Do you have to pay for that?
The Libra, yes. The sensors, obviously, when you're working, they are expensive. They're just over £45 a sensor, which will last 14 days.
What?
Yes, what it is.
What? That's some gangster move, man. That's not free.
No. But what it is, majority of people, you need 2 sensors per the month, you know, because they only last 14 days.
You work?
Yes.
So you're copping out a lot of money then?
Yeah, what it is, see, I know obviously financial wise it is a lot of money, but to actually put a youngster in a good frame of mind of being diabetic, it's worth the money, you know?
Yeah, it's 40 quid every 14 days, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's 80 quid a month.
Yep.
And you need 2 of them.
Yes.
So that's 160 quid a month to monitor yourself so you stay alive.
Yeah.
Is there any other bills that you need to pay regarding your medical?
To be honest, my medical, the other thing was what a lot of the price wise is rising is, you know, the glucose tabs. When you're going low, we call them orange glucose tabs.
Is that the equivalent to eating a Mars bar or something?
Yes, but what it is, they're very more controlled, you know. Like, sometimes I could be going low and I could eat a Mars bar and it'd boost me up too high, you know. The glucose tabs sort of give you a bit more of a, control, you know.
Okay, that's good.
And the glucose gel, bottle of, I think it's 50 or 75ml, glucose gel, £13 a bottle.
You have to pay for all of this?
Yeah, I pay for all mine. I have to pay £9.80 towards my prescriptions.
£9.80 towards your... And how many times do you need to get a prescription?
I get a prescription once a month.
So wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Don't you then get a diabetic card? They give me a diabetic card.
Yes, but my diabetic card's only takes a fraction of the bill. It don't cover the bill.
Really?
Yes. And you wouldn't believe, but when I first started working, I was only on 16-hour contracts at the co-op.
So you work in this supermarket, yeah?
Yes.
You need to get more hours just to stay alive.
Basically, I have to work roughly 2 days a week just for my diabetic.
2 days a week?
Yes, 30 days in the month, 31 days.
A third of that is spent, a week of that is spent just trying to earn money to stay alive.
8 days of monthly wage. I don't use it on nothing else. I know that's going to be spent on my diabetes. Yes.
That's unbelievable. And then at the same time, they're paying for people to have transgender operations. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
They're paying for someone who wants to change their sex just out of their preference.
Yep.
But they won't keep someone who's alive
who's got a medical condition.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yes.
But
the problem I do believe nowadays, being a diabetic, and I've been to a lot of hospitals over the time, around the place. I believe that the NHS hasn't got the significant amount of money to physically cope with diabetics.
I think there's 2 ways I look at this from my experience. I think they do have the money.
Yes.
I think they're channeling it into the wrong places.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that with my hand on heart. Yeah, and I'll stick with that for now. They do have the money. But going back to your story, obviously you said you woke up in the hospital, the lady was singing over you.
Yes.
That must have been quite pleasant, having someone, even though you're a bit shocked, unaware, they're having a woman just singing and looking after you.
Yes, not in a, I'm a youngster, you know, majority of my friends are male, but to be honest, when I'm in hospital, I do get a lot, not so much a lot more, but the women are a lot more caring, you know.
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, doctor I had, he was like a fantastic bloke, you know. I always believe, like, I'm not sure if it's what I think, but a lot of the male doctors, when you see them, they give you their advice and whatnot, and then they always say a lot of the time, Joe, give me 1 minute and I'll ask so and so, you know.
Who are they asking?
They're asking someone a bit higher up than them, you know.
What are these trainee doctors?
No, this is an actual qualified diabetic doctor.
So who's asking another doctor?
Yes, for like to make sure that what he's saying is, you know, is okay. But obviously I've been to a lot of hospitals over the time, and when I see the woman, like, she's very confident. The women diabetic doctors, I believe, being a diabetic for a long time, are a lot more confident, you know. Like, they give you a forward straight answer, you know. Yeah.
Are they doctors or nurses? Because, you know, a lot of the time the nurses know their stuff more than the doctors because they're specialists. They've been really fit.
Yes. The problem nowadays is to see someone with a diabetic who's a diabetic, really you do need to see the diabetic nurse. You know, the GP and a lot of others, they give you good advice but not strong advice, you know. The diabetic nurse, the specialist, she's like, they're a lot more like knowledgeable with a diabetic, you know. Like problems like, you know, if your eyes play up and that, a lot of the diabetic nurses sort of know the cause or the problem, you know.
I went for a diabetic eye test the other day.
Yep.
And it's, you know, you do it annually.
Yes, the eye screening.
Yeah. And they spit whatever that thing in your eye, put that thing in your eye and it stings and you're not meant to drive afterwards.
Oh yes, the dilated drops.
I don't know what it was, it stung, and
yes.
I didn't realise you weren't meant to drive afterwards until I got there. I haven't driven there, so I managed to drive like half a mile home, which probably is illegal. But I got home and I was straining to see them. But it cleared up my eyes afterwards, and it kind of gave me 20/20 vision afterwards. Did you find that? You take the diluted things, it's blurry and then it's really clear?
Yes, the thing I had with my diabetic eye screening, I think the day that they do the eye drops for the eye screening, your eyes are good, but they're not 100%. But the next, like the following day, they do make my vision a very lot better. Yeah. You know, I do agree, because I've had about 10 years worth of eye screening once a year, and yeah, I noticed that gradually over the years that them drops obviously do cause like irritation the day that you have the eye screening, but the following day or the day after, they're very good.
So you woke up in the hospital, the lady was singing over you.
Yep.
What happened from there?
And then I waited a little while, and the woman said, "Oh, you're officially a type 1 diabetic." So
did they say what caused it?
She mentioned the stress and the worry of my brother, which passed away. And,
so he died?
Yes.
He died that day then?
Yes.
Oh, your mum must have been devastated.
Well, what it was, I think it was quite a big shock, you know. When my brother passed away, it was one day before his 21st birthday.
So he's estimated to live at 16. He got 4 to 5 years extra.
Yes, which, to be honest, was a blessing, because my mum being the parent, it was quite a worry, you know, when he was 16, to think like his lifespan sort of over, you know. So to get the extra 5 years was like a privilege, you know.
So that's kind of really blown me away. So since then, since you've been, obviously your brother's moved on and you are who you are, what has changed in your lifestyle? Do you exercise more? Do you watch what you eat?
The first thing what made me realise, my mum's a big Christian, you know. Oh. My mum goes to church every Sunday morning from 10:30 till midday.
Has she always been like that?
My mum, yes, she's gone to, like, my dad never walked in a church once, but my mum, yeah, she's been going to church for many years. And when I first became diabetic, I was quite nervous to go out with my mates. Not so much nervous, I think I was more embarrassed, you know,
Uh-huh.
to carry me insulin and, you know what I mean, poke me fingers and stuff like that, because me being a youngster now, this day and age, everything's, a lot of the life's about image, you know. And yeah, to be honest, I started going to church with my mum
Yeah.
and just sitting at the back, you know, just like as a couple of hours like shut down, you know.
Yeah.
And
You got any other brothers or sisters?
yes,
How many?
I've got 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
Minus the one that passed away.
Yes,
Okay, so you still got a lot of love in the family.
yes, but it's very unusual because the brothers were like had medical problems, but my sisters have got not one single problem,
Okay.
you know.
Not sure what to say. Well, I'm happy to hear about that. I'm sorry to hear about that, but I think you get my drift. In
Yep.
the sense that, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing because this day and age, you know, to get some advice, majority of the time they want you to talk to the nurse or the doctor, you know. And to be honest, you do learn a lot more, you know, from like an outside point of view, you know, from another patient who's diabetic,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Like I done that Daphne course for the week.
What's a Daphne course?
It's like you go into like a centre and with other diabetics and you learn and you listen to their kind of views and then you just try and take his advice to your advice. And yeah, and I've done that for 1 full week, 5 days, and yeah, it taught me a lot, you know, like to see another diabetic and how they produce and how they, you know, sort of get by.
Mm-hmm. I hear. So how do you get by? Do you exercise? What do you eat?
Uh,
Is there food you don't eat? Food you do eat?
Yeah, I try and eat vegetables at least once a day.
Okay.
I don't eat no microwave or frozen stuff because that's one of the biggest problems, you know. It's the processed food at the moment.
Okay. Can I just jump in there? Sorry.
Yep,
I used to eat sausages and bacon.
yep,
Now I don't. What I do, I just, you know, you get slivers of steak.
yes.
I buy that and I cook it like I would a bacon.
Oh, yes.
Do you see what I mean? And just put it in a sandwich, so it's like I have a steak sandwich.
Sandwich, yes.
Instead of a bacon sandwich.
Yep.
And I feel a lot better for it. We'll just throw some salad in there.
Yes.
Whole bread.
To be honest, a lot of the problem nowadays in life is what we could, is a lot of what they consume, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like the sugar, like a lot of youngsters eat now, they don't realise, but they're eating over 60, 70 grams a day, you know, of sugar. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's, yeah, I believe that a lot of the problem now, it not even diabetic, but a lot of other problems, breathing and stuff like that, it's all to do with the consuming of the crap they eat, you know, like the rubbish, you know, ready meals and burgers what can be made in 5 minutes and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, like the McDonald's.
Yeah, it's all like, nowadays it's all the rush, you know, you eat, you want it instant, they want it instant, you know.
Mm.
You want to go to get a home cooked meal, 5 out of 7 or 8 youngsters probably eat 1 full cooked meal a week, you know, which is a lot of the problem why they're consuming so much rubbish and then ended up with a lot of medical problems.
So do you exercise, mate?
Yes, I do. Majority of the time I do a lot of walking. I ride me pedal bike. I take me dog out every single day. Me dog, not so much now, but I used to do a fair amount of jogging. But to be honest, being a diabetic, you need that flow of exercise, you know, to not make you feel sort of sluggish or,
Yeah.
you know.
So no sweets, no chocolates, no cakes.
To be honest, I've not had a packet of sweets probably in the last 5 or 6 years.
And you've been a diabetic for how long?
For nearly 12 years.
Do you feel like you're stable?
My diabetic is very, for a youngster, it's very good. Yeah, to be honest, I'm more than pleased with my blood sugar levels, my insulin control. To be honest, I wouldn't really ask at the moment for a better control.
But you're having to go for operation. Was it kidney?
Yes, for the kidney.
So why are they having to do that?
Because what it is, the pancreas, which produces the insulin, weren't producing the amount I should, which caused a problem with the kidney organ. So now the right kidney, he's got a function, if I'm right with the figure, he said function of 15, but The problem with the left's only got a function of 4.
Okay, and so which kidney are you having to change?
The left.
And that's the weaker one, the one with the
Yes.
lower rating.
Yep.
And that's because because it's been working harder because of the pancreas.
Yes.
And the pancreas is something they don't change.
No, you can have a pancreas transplant, but I think, like you say before, majority of the time now, it's what they want to hold back. That's a very, very big operation, you know.
Yeah,
If they
smaller things first.
if they don't have to, they won't, you know. A lot of hospitals do that now. If they sort of hold back, if they haven't got her, they don't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If they've got her and it's them like push come to shove an emergency, and then they will, you know. But I think a lot of them now they're very overrun and busy, you know. If they can get around something, we're not doing it to you. Not that like they're a bad person, but nowadays that's the way they like sort of made, you know. If they can get away with doing something or get around it, then they do.
Okay. You've been a great person to interview. I really appreciate you sharing your gift, and I wish you well with your operation.
Yep.
What would be your advice to any young person who's just found out they're diabetic, type 1 diabetic?
My first bit of advice is to listen. You don't listen to the doctor and take the information and the advice that she's giving you. You're sort of causing yourself a problem already. You know, the main priority is to listen, and another one is I always say to learn, which is to try it. Obviously, even if you can start or you're used to it, you've got to learn to make that change, you know. Like if you was eating rubbish and stuff like that, you become diabetic, you learn to change, you know. You learn to try and eat better, you learn to try and control yourself, and that is my biggest advice. I tell many people, even like an old age pensioner, you know, someone who's been diabetic for a long time, my great advice is to listen and to learn.
Okay. And on the mental side of things, obviously mental health, what would be your advice and how have you managed?
To be honest, how to manage me diabetes, in like being a youngster, you know, is to listen to another majority of diabetic people from not in the hospital, but you know, from outside of life. You meet people out and, you know, they say I'm diabetic, and I meet people at different appointments.
Oh, support groups.
And yes, it's
diabetic support groups.
yes, and they're and social media, you know, like the diabetic groups and the chat groups. They are good advice. Like, you know, it makes you think there is a lot more people in the same position as you are.
Okay.
And yeah, to be honest, not like so much. Like, I didn't really worry, because at first I was quite embarrassed to say that I was diabetic, you know. And then one night I went on a date with a woman and came home, and anyway I was in the bathroom or doing something, and when I came out of the bathroom, the girl said, "Oh, Joe," she said, "why didn't you tell me that you was diabetic?" Anyway, I physically didn't say a word to her because I was quite shocked that she knew. And anyway, I left it about 20 minutes, and then I started talking, and because obviously I was quite embarrassed to think, oh, the girl don't like me, you know. I'm diabetic, and yeah, that was a big jump. Like, you sort of got to tell people, you know.
And how did it turn out?
Well, this was like 7-8 years ago, and I'm still meeting the girl. I met her in school, and I still see her till this day. And you wouldn't believe, I think telling her was a better thing, you know, because she does give me a lot more like support, you know.
Yeah, that's a good woman. Thanks a lot, Joe. We wish you well. Listen, mate, if anybody wants to find you on social media, any other diabetic, where can they find you?
You can go onto Facebook and type in Joe Berry, and yeah, I'm happily to give you any advice and support that I already have, and I'd like you know, listen to someone else's advice, and yeah, the group and talking to another diabetic is great support.
Okay. And Joe Berry, do you want to spell that?
You spell that Joe space Berry.
Okay. And for the listeners out there, his link of Facebook will be down below in the comments section, so you feel free to click on there and connect with him. Thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channel. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.